Balance, the elusive thing we are all chasing. I have heard from so many high performers who say they want to care less about their careers, and yet no matter what they do, they can't get there. So today we're talking about decentering your career and what so many people get wrong. Because why do all of the hobbies and yoga classes and things you add to your agenda to try and find peace end up making you feel more stressed out? Why is it so hard to find balance? Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Chris. I'm a career and mindset coach. And for the last 9 years, I've worked with driven, capable people who look successful on the outside and yet feel pressured, stuck, or disconnected on the inside. And one of the patterns that I've seen with a lot of these people is this desire to care less. I just wish I could turn my brain off. I just wish I could be more chill about work. I just wish I didn't feel like it was the center of my universe. For so many high performers, they go about balance in the way they go about everything, responsibly. They assume to themselves, well, if I add more good stuff to my agenda, then work will naturally matter less. It's a numbers game. At its core, it comes down to the fact that there are two pieces to actually decentering your career. So yes, partially it's about doing more of the stuff that brings you joy, but it is also equally, if not more so, about learning how to do less. That is why I hear from so many people who say, I added all these things to my calendar and now I just kind of secretly resent those things. And every time it's time for me to go out of the house and go to my exercise class or whatever that is, I think to myself, "Ugh, I don't have time for this." Work is still taking up the majority of their mental space because they did not actually decenter work. They just expanded their to-do list. So a little more on why decentering your career doesn't work if we're only adding. One, adding doesn't create space. It just gives you more to manage. It makes things feel heavier. Two, most people never learn how to do less. High achievers particularly, really good at adding, really terrible at subtracting because they've never practiced letting things go unfinished or letting capacity be wasted or doing less without justifying it. And then three, work stays central if nothing ever replaces this role in a meaningful way. So this is where the identity piece comes in. Work isn't just time or hours in our day. It is structure, it is identity for a lot of the people I work with, it is reassurance. And so when so much of our identity is tied to this pressure to prove, if we do not deal with that foundational issue, then work is going to forever be dominant because we always will have that piece of head trash running in the back of our minds. And this is why I see so many people trying to care less by adding fun things to their calendar and ending up frustrated and resentful. And so if we actually want to meaningfully move the mark, we do need to talk about decentering your career as a whole, coming at it from that two-prong approach of, yes, adding more of the stuff you like, but first and foremost, learning how to do less of the stuff that is taking up your headspace. Because if we cannot build tolerance to that, then we are never going to fundamentally move the mark. Now, learning to do less without spiraling or over-explaining or justifying is indeed a skill. It's one that I've worked with a lot of clients on because, again, most high performers were never taught this. We were taught to be hyper-responsible. So if you want a place to actually practice this with me directly, you can join us in the bundle. Or if you want to learn more about decentering as a whole and all of the steps of the Achievers Reset framework, you can head to the free workshop. I'll also drop that in the description. So if you relate to any of this, I want you to ask yourself honestly, where are you trying to add balance without subtracting in your life? Because you cannot decenter work in a world that is built around overfunctioning. So I want you to really get honest with yourself and think about where you are adding versus subtracting. If this resonates, I'd love if you tell me in the comments because I am here to support you. And the first step is that awareness, so that we can start to practice doing less. Next week, we're talking about this goal that we're all moving towards, where we are going from this achiever's paradox. So be sure to come back for that. And in the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.